Welcome back to California, everybody. It's Jack from Atlantis Water Gardens. We've gotten a tremendous amount of work done out here already. This whole lower section of Waterfall is pretty much built. We're on to what's going to be the first of 2 filters that are going to actually keep this pond clean. We've got a gigantic drop going into a pooling area here. Up behind here, we're going to be installing a 15-foot by 15-foot constructed wetland filter. We'll be excavating down about 4 feet in a big square here. We've got 4 centipede modules and 2 snorkels that'll be going in here. Probably aligned this way. I'm going to put the snorkels on this side. We'll feed the plumbing in here to go to the bottom. Then there'll be a layer of Aqua Blocks followed by graduations of rock and gravel. Actually 3 graduations. We've got 5 to 8 inch, a 2 to 4 inch, and finally at the top will be like a 1 inch mix that'll filter the water as it comes up and it'll feed out into this section of waterfalls. I'm gonna mark this out. We're gonna do our excavation, then we'll go through all the steps to building the wetland filter, from installing our liner to putting in those centipedes of snorkels, and I'll explain what those are, as well as the Aqua Blocks and the layers of gravel. So stick around, let's get this thing rolling.
We're doing a staircase here, and you can kind of see it. It's not a way we would normally do staircase. Building a staircase is actually kind of a lot like building a waterfall. You have a frame rock on one side, the stair, and then you set another frame rock. What we're doing this time compared to where we normally do it is we're just setting the frame rocks, and then Matt's got an unbelievable mason that works for him, and he's gonna come in and actually mason set all these things with some mortar and stuff and continue to climb up through here. So all we're doing is setting the frame rocks, and if you can picture step, step, kind of turn, step, 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 you know, turn a little bit more, then step this way. I know Jack and I both treat the staircases a lot like waterfalls. We never want it to be linear. We don't like it to go straight down like an escalator or anything. We want to twist and turn these stairs as much as possible, really to match kind of the same feel of the waterfalls over in there.
Well, as it goes, sometimes you just throw the first plan right out the window.
We're up here at the top. You can see Jose, Eric, Luis, and Dylan digging out the troughs for our bridge. As Jack started digging this and we started laying out the bridge, we realized there just wasn't a whole lot of room to do the wetland back there. If you look at this cut, we're about 4 feet, 5 feet over in there. If we wanted to do a wetland back there, we have to go another 3 feet there. That'd have been an 8-foot deep cut right there, which just doesn't make sense. So a lot of times when we're building these projects, we just adapt, right? We have a vision, we say it's gonna happen this way, but then as we start kind of massaging the earth a little bit, playing around with things, our plans get thrown right out the window and we change. So now the wetland filter is supposed to go right where the bucket of that big machine is over there. Believe it or not, originally the wetland was supposed to go right by those pipes down there where the conduit for the lights are. And I really think it wasn't so much our vision changing, we were just on a roll. And wetlands slow everything down, because now we gotta stop, do a big cut, set up our centipede, snorkels, and so on and so on. But at some point, we have to put the dang thing in. So That's where it's going. We have no other choice. We have no other choice.
Yeah, hopefully no plans change again. I'm telling you, this project is just, I'm telling you, this project is just getting better and better. Jose actually built this bridge out of some old railroad ties that Matt had laying around. This thing is so freaking cool. It's been drilled all the way through. Long pieces of threaded rod were put through there, and then they countersunk some nuts with washers on the edge. It looks so rustic and cool. And now that it's built in with the rocks in front of it, it just looks like it's meant to be here. I mean, I love the way that turned out. And you can actually drive on it. Matt had the excavator on this thing, which weighs about 6,000 pounds, and it was no issue whatsoever. So he'll be driving his little golf cart across here up the trail. He's gonna develop that some more. And then on the other side, we've got the rest of the stream that goes underneath the bridge. Now we are finally ready to put in our first constructed wetland filter. We are actually starting it, I promise you. I'm not gonna mislead you this time. We did move it up to this section over here. We're gonna dig our 15 by 15 excavation. Then we'll get in our centipedes and snorkels along with the other stuff. And I'll show you that as we go along. First thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna pull this liner back. We've gotta set just a few more rocks before we're at the wetland elevation. Then we can go ahead and dig that and get it installed.
There's all kinds of edges. There's still foaming to be done. There's cleanup work. These are one of my least favorite areas to work on here. This is where our upper streamliner came over the top of our lower streamliner like this, and we like to usually bring them in between our big frame rock and this rock. Sometimes we get lucky and we can bring it way back around, but here we had no other choice just because of the sheer size of this rock. I mean, remember, this is a 7-foot boulder. So I'm just kind of stacking up in here, a lot with the same principles as don't stack on top of each other, just keep recessing back, knowing that my line of sight is from over here. If I can move these boulders back behind this one, you're not gonna see them from the only place that really, really matters. I would have loved to come in here and do some slate work, but that's just not a practical option right now. So I'm gonna go through here, then work on some edges, then go foam, then go do your job, then go. A lot of people call me a badass. Bad mobo.
Yeah. That's exactly what they call you. Now this is a nice excavation. Right now we've got our hole at 15 by 15. That's gonna allow us to put in 66 small aqua blocks. We're gonna split the difference with our 2 centipedes and snorkels. We'll have one here, and then the second one will be going this way. We'll put the snorkels on this end, with the plumbing being fed from the main line into here. It'll split into those 2 centipedes and then flow up through the aqua blocks, and then the graduations of rock and gravel. Next step is we're gonna lay out where those go, and then Matt's gonna go ahead and dig the trough for each one of those. We'll clean it up by hand, Then we'll inspect the hole real good. We're gonna put a layer of sand down for protection. Then we'll put in our multiple layers of fabric followed by our liner. Now our liner for the wetlands got to go in the whole excavation, come out, and actually tuck in front of this waterfall. That's going to be our overlap right there. The water will flow out of the wetland and then start this waterfall here. Now we've got our liner installed and we've started with putting in our 2 snorkel modules along with the centipedes. This is called a centipede and that is the snorkel at the end. That is a clean out port, so when you need to wash the filter down and clean it, you could drop a pump in there and actually eject any of the dirty water. This is where we're pumping the water into from the pond. We're gonna be coming in here with 2 3-inch lines. One's gonna feed this one and then one will go to the other one. The water will enter here and go up through these slots. On top of that, there's going to be a layer of Aqua Blocks. So those are going to slow down the velocity to the water in here, give it some contact time with the beneficial bacteria that we're living in here, and then it will start to raise up through graduations of rock and gravel. So we'll start with rock. That's about this size, anywhere from 5 to 8 inches. There'll be an 8-inch layer of that. Then we're going to go to a smaller layer, which is going to be about 2 to 4 inches. And then the last gradation is going to be somewhere around 1 inch or so with maybe a topping of 3/4. So the water pumps in here, flows up through all that filtration and exits out the waterfall. We're putting in 66 of these small Aqua Blocks. We want to flow about 150 gallons per hour for each block. So that means with 66, we're going to be somewhere around 9,900 gallons per hour flowing through this. That's for optimal contact time. Lets all the sediments settle out into the bottom, which then can be flushed out later. And you get the best effect from the filter when you're flowing through the proper way. So that applies to all filters. So you've got a biofalls filter and you're just blowing all kinds of water through it. It's not going to be very efficient. It's not going to filter well. Make sure you're sizing your pump to what your filter is going to need as far as flow to get optimal filtration. Bud, there's nothing I hate more than leaving a job unfinished, and especially not running.
Well, yeah, it's about the worst feeling in the world, especially after the way our bodies are feeling, you know?
I gave everything I had this week.
I gave 110 because you gave about 90. That's 2 5-gallon buckets of water. Up a 15-foot grade change. Now remember, if it looks good with 1 5-gallon bucket of water, I think what he's pushing over it is 10 times more than that. So let's see. Drum roll. Yep, very good.
Okay.
Oh yeah!
That's cool. It's gonna be raging over that.
This is the actual final water level. I was 800 gallons off. Just put that in there.
Stop it.